Looks like steel, to be honest.
Of all the garbage here,
For the 1 pound of copper, I need ID.
discarded,
I thought the cans were his.
dumped, or deposited,
You got $2.20.
of all the rubbish recovered, recycled, or remanded, Ruth Hanna is responsible for some of it.
They're heavy.
At recycling centers, you can see her turning aluminum cans
50. 50.
into cash for charities.
50. She said 50.
But more than likely,
It does feel like 30.
you'll hear her first. She carries an infectious giggle, joyful laugh, while she carries and
By the
collects
time I get home, I feel I've lost 5 pounds.
her cans. For 28 years, the former county worker has walked through county buildings and other places, relentlessly wiring aluminum.
Okay.
It is an effort to give others a better present than the life she lived in the past.
I cried quite a few. I cried quite often.
Ruth was a Depression-era child given away by her mother.
Right here. Right here.
She grew up
See, I had a lot of hair at that time.
and was raised
Receiving my first communion.
through the kindness of strangers, living and working in about a half dozen homes through age 19.
Well, I was happy,
But one foster family was far
at least for a little while.
from welcoming.
I went through so much
At age 17,
pain and
the hurt became
sorrow and joy.
nearly overwhelming.
So I said working for this one family really almost made me want to end my life. I went through expression hell with this family.
She says the mother in one home where she worked and lived locked her in her bedroom after 9 at night.
She hit me several times. I had bed bugs and I had lice. I had to use a sink for a toilet. I felt like I was in prison.
Did you ever tell anyone about the abuse?
I reported it to my social worker. She came to see me, and the lady told her that everything was fine, that I was a liar. And so the social worker never checked up on it after that.
But a woman treated like trash and tossed away at birth wouldn't let herself sit and rot.
Well, I look at it this way. If anybody's got a right to be bitter at the world, I certainly do have a right. But I figure, what do you get out of being bitter?
At age 55, she began crushing, collecting, chronicling,
Like if you would bring me cans, you would be considered an outside friend.
and categorizing.
Yeah, it's a work.
But the reality is, turning trash into donations helps her heal.
So this is a tonic for me, you know.
All the money is given to charities, but Ruth says most goes to the foster system, hoping children don't have to endure the pain of her past.
I've raised over $84,000 so far.
If you're asked how many cans were collected to amass that kind of cash, you're not alone.
What's the count up to?
So what number are you at now?
Well, as of yesterday, 1,046,700 as of yesterday.
And counting.
Makes me happy, very happy.
Around the time Ruth collected $1 million, she was given a trophy,
The can lady, 1 million cans for charity.
a proclamation, and a merit award.
I told my coworkers and my friends, if I'm 5 or 6 cans shy of $1 million and the Lord decides to take me, just put them in my coffin and I'll take them up to heaven with me.
Ruth Hanna could have acted like the garbage she collects, but instead, she laughs at that idea, proving one person's trash is another person's pleasure.
Very much pleasure.
Jeremy Ross, Fox 6 News. Time is merely a measure of events, a distance between past and present, and a resource we all share
It was kind of scary.
until it runs out.
The attitude was, I'm gonna take it 15 minutes by 15 minutes.
Are you lucky to be alive?
Definitely. Definitely.
Tracy Gerber's time was nearly taken away back on October 14th. Near the place she and her husband play Monopoly,
Can you make me a car?
an internal struggle
Or a battleship?
for survival played out
My husband Jeff had called.
with little memory of how it began.
I'm not sure what happened. I said, I'm on the floor.
What are you doing there?
And I said, I don't know what I'm doing on the floor.
And she was talking a little off. I'm like, are you drunk?
And I said, I wish I was drunk, then I'd have a reason to be on the floor.
And she had no perception anything was wrong with her.
Her husband Jeff came home to find his once healthy wife immobilized on the carpet.
She's moving one leg and not the other. I'm like, you're not okay.
My husband had called 911.
Hours passed between the time Gerber was on the floor and the moment she arrived at Waukesha Memorial Hospital.
It's abruptly terminated right there.
Tests and images revealed Tracy was having a stroke. A blood clot was choking off the oxygen to her brain,
Yeah,
threatening her very life,
it was definitely some of the worst news you ever received.
threatening her quality of life.
You could probably not walk again.
The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says about 66% of people hospitalized for stroke are over the age of 65. Tracy was only 35.
They tell me it's pretty rare.
Time is the essence.
Time loss is brain loss.
The clock began to dictate what could and couldn't be done to reverse her partial paralysis and save her life.
Where it should be coming out here. And
Doctors like Robert Lesniak couldn't use special drugs to restore the blood flow to Tracy's brain. Medication would be too risky because too much time passed. But for a special procedure similar to this one, time was on her side.
given her young age, that was a major contributing factor that made it easier to navigate through the blood vessels we needed to.
Lesniak performed an intra-arterial thrombectomy. That's a process where a small tube about the width of a dime is threaded from the patient's hip to the brain.
We start passing our smaller tube up.
There, the device can directly suction the clot out. The risks were many, the guarantees were few.
Because she deserved that chance to try and live a normal life.
To feel normal again.
Tracy became the youngest patient at the hospital to undergo the procedure to remove a blockage slightly larger than the head of a pin. It lasted only about an hour, but it felt like days.
Just, the time's ticking, and it's like time's going so slow.
I just remember waking up in my room in the ICU.
From there, the quality of the rest of Tracy's life would be measured moment by moment.
Every 15 minutes they would check to see if I could hold my hand.
They'd hold it up and it'd drop.
Minutes turned to hours, hours turned to days, and on day 2, Tracy turned the corner.
The first moment I walked, that was pretty.
Partial paralysis became part of her past.
That was pretty cool.
She jumped out of bed with a big smile on her face and came walking over and gave me a hug. And it was one of the more gratifying moments in my career.
Did I just pay you that money?
Thanks in part to a procedure, a woman whose well-being once hinged on minutes can enjoy many more moments, a patient given more quality time to spend with others. Jeremy Ross, Fox 6 News. Think of this as trying to capture someone's finest moment.
3, 2, 1.
Think of this as a countdown to remember someone's best and brightest times.
3, 2, 1.
I'll be trying not to blink, because when the flash, right?
Okay.
Right, when the flash hits you, you like.
Okay, tuck the chin just a little bit.
Fortunately, there are retakes at Help Portrait Milwaukee.
Erase that one. Erase that one.
I always say I'm handsome, but
Here, the number of pictures snapped are matched only by the number of smiles
This way.
and the amount of laughter.
yeah. I like that one.
That one. Yeah.
But it's these kind of moments that are so painfully few and far between for so many.
This is where my struggle started at.
And that includes Yolanda Walton.
It means everything to me.
She waits for her portrait to be printed as part of a free holiday card.
Just think about, what can I give my kids for Christmas? Because I don't have any money. I don't have a job.
For the past 6 years, she's been homeless.
I cried this morning. I didn't even want to come outside and take care of my business, but I had to, because how am I eat?
Her life has taken her from shelter to shelter and into and out of addiction.
Crack cocaine, weed, beer. So 17th, I've been clean for 30 days, so.
3, 2, 1. Here we go.
For Walton, this is more than a picture. It is an image of the person she wants to be and a reminder of how far she's come.
Just taking that picture, and I can look back and say, oh, I was clean, I was sober.
The volunteers are amateur and professional photographers,
Come on down.
all donating their time to the needy,
Put the chin down just a little bit.
preparing portraits for many, including those below the poverty line.
Name's Leroy. Nick, we'll take your picture. How you doing, man?
The man taking their image has a reason for giving back.
2, what? All right. I was formerly homeless myself.
This is Leroy Skalsted's 4th year volunteering. He is a retired veteran who sees flashes of his past struggles through every subject in his lens.
One of the things about being homeless is this so-called invisible syndrome that everybody goes through. I mean, you could basically walk the street and nobody really basically sees you.
His mission is to show everyone here not only a picture, but a visual reminder of their importance, dignity, and self-worth.
Let's do one more. That's it.
It is only a photo. It is not a place to stay. It is not a solution for poverty.
Okay, the mirror's over here.
But it is an effort to show those who may have faced the worst what they can look like at their best.
Just for that moment, I had fun.
I just never forget them faces.
A new focus for volunteers, and perhaps a new view for those inside the viewfinder.
New beginning. It's a new beginning for me.
Jeremy Ross, Fox 6 News.